following is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.
Welcome, one and all, here on V8's Online on the iRacing Esports Network for the first round of the Porsche Supercup Australasia Championship. This is certainly going to be a fantastic season of one of the premier GT series in the Australia-New Zealand SimSphere. My name is Reese Gardiner, and joining me in the commentary box, once again, Brock Cat-Eye. Brock, time for Porsches. It's been a while since we've seen that on V8's Online.
Yeah, we had the Super Cup series running alongside V8 Scops at some point last year, and that provided some good entertainment. The fact that it's a one-make series really makes it great. There's no sort of discrepancies between the cars like we see in the SSA Championship with all the different GT3 cars. The setups aren't that complicated either, so this really comes down to how the driver can push hard and make the most of the car they've got underneath them.
Yes, indeed. All running the Porsche 991 GT3 Cup car. And certainly, as you've mentioned, the setup options are quite limited on these things. So it does come down to what the driver can do to get the most out of their car. Don't have as much to rely on in terms of aerodynamic grip either. Mechanical grip is also at a bit of a premium. And of course, we've got to think about the fact that these cars are rear engine. So they got that rear engine hanging out past the rear axle. Certainly makes for some interesting driving behavior around a track like Interlagos.
Yeah, well, that's it. And that brake bias as well is going to be critical tonight to make sure that you don't swing around and block the track or anything like that. So they're going to have to manage that really carefully. I know some drivers will even try and change it between certain parts of the course, particularly through the middle where you've got some of those the sort of 180 corners that you've really got to manage around there and get your foot down at the right time and make sure when you're braking, you're not hitting it too hard. These cars are prone to locking up very easily, so these guys are going to have to be very careful as well when making overtaking maneuvers to not make the mistake and throw it down the inside and hit people off.
Yeah, certainly. You got to also take into account with the braking and all that Interlagos is a track with plenty of braking zones where you can brake a little bit later than you think you can, particularly down at turn 1. You find yourself braking at about the 50-meter marker in some quick cars down into that very tight center S-bend. So it will be interesting seeing what the drivers can do down there at turn 1, but currently they're there in late afternoon conditions, and they've got less than half of the practice session left to go before they go racing for the first of 2 20-minute sprint races we've got going tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty exciting format tonight. We've got no pit stops and nothing of the like. These guys are in an all-out 20-minute brawl to the finish, and we've got qualifying has already set the grid for race 1, and then the finish from race 1 will set the grid for race 2. So these guys, when they're racing along, they've got to consider that they still have another 20-minute sprint race tonight, and their position in this race 1 will dictate where they start there. So if they make a silly move and they go back a lot, they're going to be making their life seriously hard. So they've got to think about that when they're making their moves from where they start as well. And, you know, if they get taken out, down to the back. And we've got a big field here tonight as well, so I'm sure you do not want to be at the back and having to work your way through, particularly with no sort of, straight line advantage or anything like that. It's all the same.
Yeah, it certainly is. And looking at the field that we've got going tonight, we got 36 cars in this first split server here. There is another split running as well. The second split for the drivers that were not able to set the quickest lap times, and of course they'll be having a fun race of their own. This is the one that we're going to be focusing on. This top one where Michael Healy took pole position in qualifying for One Performance Racing. And coming into this first race, it's a bit of a balancing game because the drivers aren't familiar with each other, I think, after, some time out of the saddle in the Porsche. There have been other Porsche series in the AusNZ community run, but this specific set of drivers will be together once again, and they're going to have to find their feet in the midst of a big field on turn 1, lap 1, etc. So do they make those big moves, or do they hold back and try and consolidate a good finishing position for race 2? There is a little bit of strategy here for this first race.
Yeah, that's exactly it, and that's also that's what can contribute, to this race, as well as that these guys are going to be fighting it out hard. It's a sprint race, no pit stops, like I said before, but equally they've got to think about their position, exactly where they're going to end up, because you don't want to be at the back of the pack in a race like this. It takes a lot to go from the back to the front, particularly with such a short race. Safety cars are in play, but hopefully we don't see any. We just want an all-out race here tonight. I'm really keen, as we're now about 30 seconds away from the race session going live.
Yes, indeed. And the drivers are just going around making their final adjustments, their final sighting laps of the circuit in these conditions that are a bit different to what they've seen in the qualifying session. So it's going to be a very interesting one. Scott Kozlowski bringing it into the pits, I'm noticing, but the majority of the drivers are now in the pits, just waiting for the session to tick down. Got a couple of drivers out there still testing the waters in terms of space for battles, but they will be snapped back to the pits right about now in a few seconds. And then we'll be able to get those grid results up on screen so we can see the state of play for tonight's racing. So, race 1 going live. And in first place, we've got Michael Healy, Dylan Shepherd, Jordan McDonnell, and Joshua Anderson making it. And One Performance Racing 1, 2, 3, 4. Forza Elnabi and Anthony Winkleman for Trick Sim Sports complete 5th and 6th, with Brett Cananzi in 7th place. Altus Esports' Zachary Hanlon in 8th, 9th. Wayne Burke for Synergy Sim Racing, and Mark Rayner rounding out the top 10.
And in 11th place, we've got Adam Highland. 12th is Dean O'Brien. 13th, Scott Larnack. 14th, Griffin Gardner. 15th, Scotty Harris. 16th, Ben Dow. 17th, David Haynes. 18th, Hayden Dotman. Adam Briggs in 19th, and Corey Preston is rounding out the top 20 here tonight.
In 21st position, we got Mitchell McLeod in car 40 with Barden Reed in 22nd. Jimmy Ball, 23rd, with Cody Bircher in 24th. Gary Hamilton in car 111 in 25th position with Jason Hyde, Joshua Skin, Michael Kirkham, and Michael Hammond up to 29th position. Top 30 rounded out by Shannon Mason. The green flag flies, and away they go. And already seeing a bit of a block and maneuver there from Jordan McDonnell, getting it to the inside, trying to defend against Joshua Anderson. The field piling into turn 1 for the first time. A full field of Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars. It looks like most of them, they've actually managed to get through there quite cleanly, Brock, as they come out onto the back straight for the first time.
Yeah, you don't see that too often through there. It usually gets pretty messy. They're doing well at the moment here. Love the scream of this Porsche Cup car. It's absolutely awesome. We've got one of the OPR cars off in the background there.
Goodness me.
Yeah,
and we got
messy
more
here. We've got someone spinning, and that's Solowski in the ASM car. He's just done a barrel roll. Just as we were saying, it was great. We've got cars in the air. This is immense.
No,
and that is the safety car. We were hoping for a nicer race here, and it's all gone wrong.
Goodness me, that's going to take some time to dissect for sure. Let's go back and see what happened there. Of course, CPR cart and sim parts replay. There was a big lag spike in the server at the same time, so it's not quite clear how that eventuated. But I do notice that people like Jimmy Ball and Barden Reed started spinning on their own, which obviously didn't help matters for the rest of the field going through there. Kozlowski, I think, a bit of an innocent victim in all of that, but goodness me, that is absolute carnage there right now. Gary Hamilton also getting involved with Mark McDonald in the turn after that. So interesting scenes to start off the championship here.
Yeah, that's not good. I imagine that lag spike may have had something to do with it. It's good to know that it wasn't just me. It seems that few of us got it there, so maybe has something to do with the cars all disappearing and they reappear inside each other, basically. But yeah, it was what we were hoping to avoid for a sprint race like this. So, and there we go. We've had Simon confirm that the servers died on him, so the yellows come out as well. So I dare say that incident probably has something to do with the fact that there was that big lag spike. And as we know, when we all jump back in, there are probably cars, you're within cars, and all these crashes have just occurred. A shame to see, but not much we can do when it's the servers talking, not the drivers.
Yeah, certainly, that is a real shame. But, well, nonetheless, the racing is going to continue on pretty soon. Everybody lining up behind the roof safety car, and the lights are still on, so that's going to be one extra lap after this one that the pace car is going to complete. They're just going through this very slow section of the lap now. So currently in the lead, Michael Healy maintains the lead of this race. And I mean, obviously, things have been mixed up quite a bit. Anthony Winkleman and Forzan El Nabi have assumed third and fourth. So that will certainly be a big benefit for the Trick Sim Sports guys. That's two of their competition in One Performance Racing out of contention here in race one. Zach Hanlon making it up to fifth. So a bit of a success story for a few drivers so far, but obviously not much racing to be done so far.
Yeah, well, we made it about 4 corners before that lag spike kicked in and things got a little bit hairy. So, but like you said, those Trick Sim Sports guys have definitely benefited from that. And those guys are not looking like they've got any damage on their car either. So we've seen in the GT3 series, in SSA, that Trick Sim Sports have some great drivers behind them. And Winkleman and El Nabi are both very well known in the community. So they may be able to take it up to the OPR guys and really try and challenge them for this race one win here tonight.
Yes, indeed. Joshua Anderson, I think, out of the One Performance Racing guys, has advanced the most. Started in fourth and now currently in second place. So Shepard and McDonnell both involved in the lap one incidents. So certainly not what they would want to get out of their night so far. And this race is already a quarter gone. Very short night of racing tonight. Of course, we've got another 20-minute race left to go here, but the drivers won't have many laps left to get their racing on. Try and advance if they've been disadvantaged on lap one.
Yeah, I really, really hope we don't see the old saying come out, safety cars breed safety cars, and in this case, because we have so little of this race left, it may be the case that everyone's going to get that red mist descend and they're all just going to want to make up positions. So hopefully create some great racing for us and no more crashing, but I've got my fingers crossed on this end, hoping that we won't see it. But we've got the top 5 now are Healy, Anderson, El Nabi, Winkleman, and Hanlon. Hanlon made up a few spots as well. He's gone from 8th to 5th, so it's definitely benefited a few people, while some guys, like we saw, McDonnell has now gone back. He's in 27th position, I think. Yeah, we've got a few guys actually coming out of the pit lane now, so they have been lapped by the looks of it. But they will still go out and complete this race and hopefully pick up a few points and also solidify their position for the next race.
Yeah, that's exactly right. People like Gary Hamilton, Barden Reed, also Jimmy Ball, David Jellings coming out of the pits as well, Michael Hammond too. So they've gotten back out there, obviously in very low positions and not much of a chance to make up, but hopefully for them, things work out okay for race 2. Jordan McDonnell, Dylan Shepherd, weaving his tyres a little bit there on that back straight, get a little bit of heat into those tyres. Tends to help a bit, actually, in this 911 GT3 Cup car. So we'll see how that works out for him. Only got a few turns left, though. Up at the front, the lights on the safety car are now out. And they just got this very slow hairpin turn. This is a prime overtaking opportunity under racing conditions. Very easy to throw one up the inside, but easy to come back down the hill and try and make a pass at Juncao, that last turn, or the last real turn. All the rest of the left-handers on the circuit after this one are completely flat out. So, safety car entering that final actual turn now. We're going to get racing again soon, Brock.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be some great racing. We've got about 13 minutes left here now. The computer's predicting about 6 laps. Those engines are getting ready to accelerate hard here. OPR 1 and 2, Trick Sim Sports 3, 4, and Zach Hanlon in the Altist Esports machine in 5th place there. They're coming around. The safety car isn't in pit lane just yet, so they're being held up quite a bit here because of the really long straight. You have to wait a second or two. So they all come filing around onto the front straight here. They're looking eager to race. We've got Winkleman already looking around, and there goes Healy. He's accelerated away now. So he's got a pretty good jump there. We've got, Winkleman has dropped back a bit there, actually, and Hanlon is all over the back of him coming into turn 1.
Oh, going for the move, actually.
Yeah, go around the outside there, and he looks like he's actually going to make that work.
Jeez.
They're still side by side coming down to turn 3 here. He's going to have to give that position back to Winkleman now, but he's right on the back of him.
I'll tell you what. God, yeah, sorry, Brock. They've actually both lost time there to El Nabi in those first couple of turns, and Hanlon pulling out once again to try and go for that move. Got to be careful with how hard you brake in this Porsche. As you said during the warm-up, Brock, those brakes are incredibly sensitive, but Hanlon not successful at getting past Winkleman. Meanwhile, back in the field, we got a hell of a battle pack behind Ben Dowell in 13th.
Yeah, you can say that again. These guys are going hell for leather at the moment, side by side as they come up through this set of corners here and into the middle of this circuit, which is very, very technical, but also provides quite a few overtaking opportunities. They are still side by side here. They were 3 wide for a second there as they come around the corner here. Dow has cleared out a bit. Yeah, Gardner's, he's not doing too great. Having a look back through the field here, they all look to have settled it out a little bit. Got Shannon Mason's turned around to the back of the pack there. They're still side by side, number 55 car there in that Ben Maxmobile, side by side with Gary Hamilton actually, who's trying to fight through the pack here. Who's been usually quite a good driver in these cars, so obviously the qualifying didn't go as well for him as what he'd hoped, but they all come around and we complete our first proper racing lap here tonight with Keeley out front, not quite clearing out, and we've got El Nabi right on the back of these guys as well.
Yeah, El Nabi's keeping with them well. Oh, Healy actually running wide a bit there in turn 1, and that's going to actually open up to an attack from his teammate Joshua Anderson. El Nabi might want to try and stay with these guys, see if he can get something out of this. They're all having a bit of a look here. Michael Healy staying steadfast in position number 1, though. Oh, overshooting just a little bit. Those fronts aren't exactly agreeing with him, and so that's going to let Joshua Anderson through into the lead of this race. And now we've got a proper battle here for the first 3 positions in this race. El Nabi trying to find his way around Healy, who obviously is having a couple of issues of some kind. Healy going straight for the inside to protect, and El Nabi a little bit of a side. Oh, and there we go. He's going to have to swap back in behind Winkleman, and Hanlon getting caught up in that as well. He almost ran into the back of El Nabi, and so that's opened him up to an attack from Wayne Burke. So this track's nature in terms of flow really catching a few drivers out here.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. And I'm just looking at a little bit of a battle pack.
Oh, we got cars around at the hairpin. Oh, there's a car upside down.
That was Gary Hamilton there, I think. He's just gone up and over. That's seriously a shame to see there.
That really is.
Got more contact up as they come onto the front straight here. They're really going for it at the moment.
Yeah, they certainly are, and that incident was caused by Jason Hyde losing it under brakes. Just completely slid and had nowhere to go. He was a passenger and went right into Jimmy Ball. Of course, Gary Hamilton caught up in that as well as a few other drivers, so that's a shame for them. Oh, we got another incident at turn 1. David Jellings now involved in an incident with Jordan McDonnell and Jimmy Ball. And Ball and McDonnell have actually made very heavy contact.
Oh, yeah, that's McDonald in the wall. This race one is definitely not going the way he wanted. He's back in pit lane. McDonald actually started from 3rd place, so he was in a great position. And unfortunately, because of that lag spike, that sent him back to the pits. And I dare say he will be starting from the back of this pack race.
Yeah, looking at Ben Dowell and Adam Highland here. Oh, Dowell with a very courageous move up the inside. He's managed to make it work really well, actually, making his way past Highland, who is also involved in a bit of a battle with Mitch McLeod. Next car in front of these guys is Cody Bircher, who is battling with the other TTL car of Scott Larnack. So these guys have formed a nice chain here at the moment. We'll see whether or not anyone can make any moves. They're actually running out of time. This race has gone about 13 minutes now, so not much time left.
Yeah, this is flying by. We're just going to have a quick look at Burke and Hanlon here, as Hanlon's up in front, but Burke is in the slipstream coming down into turn 1, and we'll wait and see whether he tries to stick his nose out. He's certainly looking. He won't do it down there, but he's still nice and close here. Hanlon's run a little bit wide, might compromise his exit through turn 2 here. Burke tried to take a wider line there, and Hanlon definitely hasn't gotten the exit he will have wanted there. So we'll watch Burke in the slipstream here as he comes down into what will be turn 4. He may try and throw it down the inside. He's definitely having a look, trying to assess if it's going to be the move for him. But no, he's going to stay in there. Smart move there. We don't want to cause any more incidents. And right now, he's in a really good position to start race 2. This is what we were talking about earlier, this strategy. And yeah, just having a look behind you, we've got Kananzi, Larnack, and Rayner also battling it hard.
Oh yeah, Larnack trying to go for that move up the inside on Rayner, almost getting into the back of him, but just holds back a little. And that's another prime overtaking opportunity right there. You could see Adam Highland in the background defending from Mitch McLeod. So this is a proper battle pack here now. Kananzi doesn't have to worry too much about these guys. They're all kind of tripping over each other right now. Have a look at Larnack versus Bircher. Bircher got a really good exit from the hairpin, but unfortunately unable to hold the outside. So now he's an OPR filling in a TTL sandwich. Not for long, though. Larnack has messed up the exit of that last turn, and he's going to have to go all the way to the back of that train, possibly worse. Looks like something happened to Hanlon as well. Not quite sure what went on there. We're going to get a CPR Kart and SimParts replay of that. He actually made the same kind of mistake, just went a bit wide on the exit of Juncao, and, well, you know, when you've got a long, flat-out section, as long as that at Interlagos, you're going to lose out big time.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it, and we saw Hanlon's drop back a couple of places there, just as that battle was developing with Burke, and, yeah, where Larnack's lost a few as well. He's gone all the way back down to 13th place from inside the top 10. So he's going to have to cop that one on the chin there. A mistake that is easily made, but he's starting to catch up on the back of this pack here with McLeod as well. These guys are holding each other up because they're all trying to look for moves to make. And McLeod is at the back, and we've got Cody Bircher at the front here. And they're so close. They're just about nose to tail as they're looking in these braking zones here. They've got roughly 3.5 laps to make a move. About 5 minutes left in this race. That is nothing when it comes to this sort of racing.
Certainly not. So Cody Birch, you can see he's very hungry to make that move on Ben Dowell. Looks like his mid-corner speed is a lot better than Dowell's. He's just driving the car into the corners that little bit harder. So it's not working out too well for him in terms of straight line runs, though. We'll have to see how he goes there. Ben Dowell, though, manages to hook up the exit of Juncao nicely, but he will have one hell of a slipstream being provided to the guys behind him. Rayner just up ahead of him, sitting pretty in 8th position. Doesn't look like anyone's close enough to make a move down here. Very easy to make a mistake into turn 1. Just tightens up a little bit in the middle, and then you got to switch right back to the other side of the circuit. Doesn't look like anyone has made a mistake there, although it is very easy to make. Up behind them, behind Lana, we got Corey Preston, I'm noticing, in 14th position. Where did Preston start in 20th? So he's had a pretty good run here today, so far at least.
Yeah, he's had a pretty quiet race. He's just bided his time and he's made up the positions where he can. And yeah, he's made up 6 positions, which is really good to see. And it means he's putting himself in an even better spot for the next race to pick up some good points and make up even more positions. So he doesn't look like he has the speed over these next couple of laps to really take to these guys in that battle pack up there. But equally, it doesn't look like, providing he doesn't make a mistake, he can be caught by Joshua Skin behind. So good effort there.
Yes, indeed. Just up ahead of them, up in front of Mark Rayner. Oh, looks like Forzan has just passed Anthony in the Trick Sim Sports camp. So that's a swap there. They're falling behind, though, relative to the OPR 1-2 up ahead. Now, it looks like at this rate, there's only going to be 2 laps left in this race. They are rapidly running out of time to try and make a move. Of course, I guess team orders out of the question at Trick Sim Sports, especially at this stage in the season. They don't mind having a bit of a race with each other.
Oh, well, that's it. We're at round 1 of 10 at the moment. You know, points aren't an issue. While you want to pick them up where you can and when you can, seriously shouldn't be worrying about this sort of thing right now. Just go out there, have fun and race. The OPR guys up there, Anderson made a brilliant move and sliced down the inside of Healy and made it work. And obviously that's what he needed to do and he got it done. So it's great to see not only teams battling, but these inter-teams.
Oh no, Kananzi around. Kananzi, oh goodness me, and that is a big incident.
A big smash.
That was the battle pack we were watching before. They all went into him. Oh my lord, that is not good at all. What on earth happened to Kananzi there?
Every single one of them. Larnack was probably the luckiest one of that out the back. Preston will have made up some bog positions from that too. Oh, he clogged the track there. That is such a shame to see.
It just looks to me like Kananzi maybe missed his braking marker a little, went to the back of Wayne Burke, braking for turn 4 and just locked up and slid. So he was stopped at the apex of turn 4.
He actually slid forward just a tiny bit there off the brakes, and that put him right onto the apex of the corner. And that, yeah, those guys, they were so close coming through line astern. There was no hope for them. That's a shame to see, because that was a great battle pack. I hope they're all together in the next race, because I really want to see 20 minutes of hard battling between those guys.
Yes, indeed. Well, Ben Dowell and Cody Bircher. Looks like Bircher definitely has the run on Dowell here. Dowell with some major damage to the front of his car, so this is going to have to be the mother of all defensive drives. But Bircher, with a much cleaner car, looks like he may be the one to get this. Up the front, though, looks like this is going to be white flag. Joshua Anderson and Michael Healy currently bringing home a fantastic 1-2 for 1 performance racing, but the Trick Sim Sports guys also doing a really good job there in 3rd and 4th. And it looks to me like Bircher has managed to get by Dowell in the process of all that, so Dowell actually sliding down the field here a little bit. We got Preston now on the back of him trying to make up a few positions, and Preston, oh, he's trying to stick his nose in, but there's just not enough space, at least through this section of the circuit.
No, that's it. Preston just needs to wait a second here. The straight line speed differential between him and Bircher will be massive once they get to that straight. And Bircher's locked up there. Preston's still right on there behind him. So that straight line differential will be probably what will mean Preston can get pipped up again there. So I think Bircher is in... got leaders coming across the line now as well to finish this 20-minute race here. So Preston is fighting hard. I think by now he will have made up about 10 spots as well.
Yep.
So...
well, Joshua Anderson, though, coming across the line for a fantastic victory. And Michael Healy bringing it home in P2. So 1 performance racing, half of their top 5 squad was put out of contention, but a really good finish from those guys.
Yeah, I was...
Oh, so it looks to me like Corey Preston managed to get by Ben Dowell by 1,000th of a second. So, I mean, it's the position, isn't it?
Oh, it doesn't get much closer than that, does it? Preston, he played the smart game there. He stuck right in behind through that more technical section instead of throwing it down the inside, and then waited until he knew he could get past, and yeah, just pipped him there. So that's a great race there by Corey Preston, up 10 positions from his starting position. and that'll put him in the top 10 to start the next race. So that's really where you want to be to capitalise.
It certainly is. I think for now, though, before we gear up for race 2, we'll run through the results for race 1. Remember, this is going to be the grid for race 2 with this event format. So Anderson earns himself a pole position by finishing in P1 here. Michael Healy in second place. Forza and El Nabi coming home in third. Winkleman fourth. So OPR, Trick, and Trick. Wayne Burke for Synergy Sim Racing in fifth place from ninth. Good run from him. Zach Hanlon, though, sliding back to eighth from a sixth place starting position. Adam Hyland doing very well to finish in seventh place, with Scott Larnack in eighth. Cody Bircher, the mother of all runs, from 24th to 9th, and Corey Preston earning himself a position in the top 10.
So then we've got Ben Dowell in 11th place, who just got pipped by Preston on that last lap, as we've seen. Joshua Skin in 12th. Griffin Gardner 13th. Dylan Shepherd in 14th. Dean O'Brien 15th. Mark MacDonald in 16th. Baden Reed in 17th. Michael Kirkham in 18th. Richard Hunter 19th. A great run from him too, starting 36th, ended up 19th. And rounding out our top 20 here tonight for race 1 is David Haynes.
Hayden Dodman is going to come home in 21st position, with Matt Morris in 22nd, Shannon Mason in 23rd, with Jimmy Ball in 24th place. Gary Hamilton will come home in 25th after being involved in the lap 1 carnage, with Mitch McLeod. Very unfortunate from him getting involved in Kananzi's slide. Jason Hyde coming home in 27th, and now we come to the lap downs and the retirements. Brett Kananzi, Mark Rayner, Steve Jansen, Scotty Harris, David Jellings, and Jordan McDonnell. A real shame for him after starting third. Michael Hammond in 34th, 35th, Adam Briggs, and rounding out the field, Scott Kozlowski. A race of what could have been for him, certainly.
Yeah, he started in 31st there, so he wasn't horribly high up the grid, but Scott has some pretty good race pace on him and knows how to push the car in the race. So it's unfortunate that he got taken out due to that lag spike, and these other guys as well in the race. You know, there was a lot that was going on, and there probably would have been some awesome battles. You know, McDonnell in third place would have fought hard with his OPR teammates to really try and push for that win as well. So hopefully he comes back for the next race, because obviously he still does have a spot there. And he'll just have to fight his way through the pack, and well, hopefully that'll provide a spectacle for us and all of you sitting at home.
Yeah, certainly. Don't go away. We'll be gearing up for race 2 very, very soon. This is V8's Online on the iRacing Esports Network, and you are watching the Porsche Supercup Australasia.
So, you want to race in NASCAR. The road starts here. Introducing the eNASCAR Ignite Series powered by iRacing. This is the gateway for all aspiring 13 to 16-year-olds. Starting June 20th, ignite your dreams of one day racing in the top tiers of NASCAR. Go to www.iracing.com/ignite for full details.
what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up.
4 more kilometers.
There we go! They caught! This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to ride.
Frankie! Down to the inside of Hoosie's off!
Passenger throws the block, and he will keep him behind him.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down. Hand over my crown. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Turning the track up. I'll never go back down. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
You're watching V8s Online on the iRacing Esports Network. This is the Porsche Supercup Australasia Championship. And, well, Brock, it was certainly an interesting race 1. And coming into race 2, we're still getting set up for that at the moment. But I think the implications of what happened in race 1, a lot of drivers have quite a bit of work to do in race 2, don't they?
Yeah, well, with that lag spike, it messed around a few drivers that probably should have done well, but unfortunately due to that were thrown back in the pack and laps down, much like Jordan McDonnell. So now they've got their work cut out for them, and I think that's going to put on a spectacle for us and make a show and see them cut through the pack, particularly in these cars here. It'll be interesting to see how a guy like Jordan McDonnell, who obviously knows this car back to front and really enjoys driving it, will do starting from 35th, 36th on the grid and having to cut his way through again in such a short race as well. He's going to have to be making bulk moves every lap and really take advantage of the start to maximize the potential of the race.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Coming into lap 1, you have a bunch of drivers who really should be higher up the grid than they are, trying to make those moves. It also increases the chance of there being a major incident in those first couple of laps, and the safety car may be brought back out. So we may end up having yet another situation like race 1, where the drivers basically have no time at all to make their moves, and they eventually just run out of race, basically.
Yeah, exactly it. And we saw that a bit with the race 1, sorry. We had about 15 minutes left of running after that safety car. That was a quarter of the race gone because we had a safety car by turn 4. If that happens again, these guys are going to be even more desperate to make moves, because with 15 minutes left of racing for the night, they've really got to make those moves to make them stick, because that's your final result. You're going to get the most points from being the furthest up the grid, and then you've got to wait another 2 weeks until our next round. So particularly guys that are from OPR, Trick Sim Sports, Altus Esports, those guys, they're going to be wanting to make a big name, a big statement in this first round, and I think we're going to be seeing hopefully some great racing, and also some guys really going at it hard to compete in that top 5, as well as those ones coming back through the pack. Damage Control, Jordan McDonnell, Michael Hammond, Scott Solosky as well. those guys, they've got to work their way back up through the pack, pick up as many points as they can, and then capitalize on their next race to make sure that they get bulk points to help them towards the championship.
Yes, indeed. And I guess if you think about it, even if they don't succeed in that quest, you do have one drop round from this series. So some drivers may just elect to remove this round from their results. That is a possibility. It's a long championship. We got 9 more rounds after this one. But just looking forward a little bit to this Sunday, Brock, we've got the big championship in the AusNZ sim racing community. That's the V8 Supercar Online Premier Series, also here on the iRacing Esports Network. And, this network, I think it's really good getting this thing set up, and it's really good to have a home for iRacing's major broadcasters.
Oh, I think it's awesome. It really makes it a one-stop shop for anybody who loves iRacing. And you see they don't just stream GTs, they don't just stream oval or anything like that. It is a broad spectrum of series. You come here, you get to see Le Mans style cars, you get to see the V8 Scops races this weekend, you get to see the Porsche Supercup, your oval series, World of Outlaws, your NASCAR Peak Antifreeze series as well. Like it's awesome. I love it. I know I'm pretty much on here watching it every single day, and it's great that we at V8's Online can also be a huge part of this and broadcast some of our series up onto here, like the Super Cup and V8 Scops.
Yeah, certainly. I think it's really good to get a sort of international flavor to everything as well. We've got broadcasters operating all over the world. We've got Race Spot in the UK, us in Australia. We've got broadcasters that span the entire globe, as well as LSR TV as well. Those guys are on board as well. So no matter the kind of racing or the time of day that you're a fan of, you have something to watch, I suppose.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it. For us Australians and New Zealanders, a lot of the sort of the strength of field races that get streamed, as well as the World of Outlaws and the NASCAR series, are on sort of mid to late morning. So I always manage to throw them up on the TV while I'm doing housework. World Championship Grand Prix series, a little bit earlier in the morning, but some of those guys that are real diehard, I know I definitely stay up and watch that. So yeah, it's great. You really have something to watch all the time. And like I said before, variety, it's awesome. But any sort of car motorsport lover, they should really come and check out iRacing Esports Network. Even if they don't have the game, you get some awesome racing like we've just seen in this last Porsche Supercup race, as well as all the other series that iRacing offers up. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, certainly. Sim racing really picking up recently in the last couple of years, and I think people are really waking up to the kind of spectacle, the kind of competition that an esports format like this offers. So if there's ever a home for it, it's definitely here. Be sure to actually stay with us on the iRacing Esports Network, because once again, V8 Scops this weekend. It's certainly going to be an interesting one. We're racing at Laguna Seca there, a track that we actually haven't visited in V8 Scops yet. I do believe the V8 Supercar has raced there in the past, but with this particular field, that level of competition that V8 Scops offers, it's certainly going to be an interesting one. The VRS V8 Supercar Online Premier Series this weekend. We're going to go on a quick break once again. Don't go away, though. We'll be right back for Race 2 here in the V8 Online Porsche Supercup Australasia. You're watching the iRacing Esports Network.
So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up.
4 more kilometers. Oh, there we go! They touched!
This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to ride.
Frankie! Down to the inside, and Hookie's off!
Passenger throws the block, and he will keep him behind him.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down, hand over my crown, hand over my heart. I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Turning the track up, I'll never go back down. Hand over my heart, I do this for my town, I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time.
So, you want to race in NASCAR. The road starts here. Introducing the eNASCAR at Night Series powered by iRacing. This is the gateway for all aspiring 13 to 16-year-olds. Starting June 20th, ignite your dreams of one day racing in the top tiers of NASCAR. Go to www.iracing.com/ignite for full details.
The following is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.
V8's online on the iRacing Esports Network. Once again, you are watching the Porsche Supercup Australasia. And, wow, it's certainly been an interesting event so far. My name is Reese Gardner. Once again, joining me, Brock Cat-Eye. Brock, we've had a bit of a development, a little bit of a change of plans for the rest of this event. There were 2 splits running as of last race, but Race Control has decided that everyone will be put into the same server for this second race. So we got an extended grid for race 2. How cool is that?
Cool, scary, the words are interchangeable, right?
Yep.
No, I think it'll be really cool. You don't usually see races this big with these sort of GT style cars, so I'm really interested to see how this goes, and it's gonna be crazy. Like I'm gonna be straight up honest here. It's gonna be crazy, and I wouldn't want to be starting in the mid pack, being 15th back to about 40th. So I'm really interested to see how this goes. Another 20-minute sprint race here for race 2, identical to the first one. No compulsory pit stop, none of that. All out sprint. Hopefully we don't see a safety car, but with more cars being added into the server, the risk does go up yet again.
It certainly does. Well, if you weren't here for race 1, it was certainly an interesting one. We had some technical issues and a bunch of people caught up in a pile-up on lap 1 that extended for the next couple of corners, really, and a few other big incidents throughout the field. And we noticed that quite a few of the guys up the front ended up being put very far down. So it's going to be quite an interesting one, seeing them work their way up the field here. Of course, I don't think they'll have to worry too much about starting too far down, considering that the drivers in split 1 that finished down the back will now technically be in the midfield or towards the back of the midfield. So it could always be worse, I suppose, but there's still a lot of work to do. Pressure from the front, pressure from behind. It's all on here.
Yeah, look, the mid-pack or the midfield, they're words that scare me a lot when it comes to racing. So I'll be interested to see particularly how some of these guys that crashed out earlier on and had to go back, and we're going to start from the back, how they'll cut their way through now and also fend off the guys coming at them from behind. So just having a look now at how many races. It looks like we've got 49 races in the server at the moment.
Oh, goodness me. That's quite a number. We don't even see that many in a typical V8 Scops race. So this is quite the field we've got on our hands here at Interlagos. Of course, a very tight, twisty but fast circuit here in Sao Paulo in Brazil. Very historic venue. Opened in the late 1930s and has been entertaining people from a driver's and spectator's perspective ever since. And now, of course, V8's online Porsches, they've certainly turned it on so far. We've got quite a few drivers out there just sussing things out. I'm watching David Haynes in the Team Hujas car, trying to get his way around Dan Hanavier. And these guys will end up racing with quite a few people who they have not encountered on track yet. So it's testing times.
Yeah, exactly it, and that's going to be the interesting part, as we were talking about that in race 1, and that difficulty of getting used to the people you're racing around. You notice that the driving standards tend to get better in a series as you get used to the people you've raced around, and by round 10 you can have an awesome battle for the whole race and not make contact once and respect each other. But in this first set of races, everything's new, everyone's new, the car hasn't been used in a series broadcast by V8's online for quite a while now. Everything's a bit fresh. We've got the track's a bit cooler, so that makes people want to make moves and everything that may or may not be on. So I'm interested to see here, and also who our biggest movers are going to be. With 49 people in the field, we could see some seriously big movers if there's a crash or if they really take advantage of the start and can cut through the field.
Yes, indeed. Well, the Porsche to start from a standstill it's a bit of an interesting one. I haven't raced the car myself in quite some time. I have done some practice laps in it recently, but the one thing I remember about standing starts was that it was very difficult to get the wheels to spin off the line. That first gear tends to bog down a little bit, so when you end up getting it off the line, you don't really stand to gain much of an advantage from the guys around you. It's only if you miss the start lights or thereabouts that anything drastic happens. So an entire 49 car field off the start line and into Lagos, I do think there is potential for quite a bit of drama because, well, actually looking at the start area of Interlagos, it goes over the crest of a hill, and coming down towards turn 1 is certainly quite the I'm not quite sure what the word is. It's just incredible. It's a great piece of racetrack, but it really challenges you.
Yeah, that's exactly it. This whole racetrack is a bit of a challenge with the way that the elevation changes throughout the whole track, and the camber on some of the corners is so different because of the way it works. You know, you're going uphill, up onto the main straight, then you come down that hill and then up that hump and right down a little chicane through turn 1 and 2, basically, as you go down the hill as well. And the car reacts differently to all the different elevation changes, the undulation, the bumps, the way there's that hump in the circuit. You know, the Porsche is a car that is very susceptible to all the little things on a track, to curves and that sort of thing. takes those qualities from a GT car. So you've really got to be careful with the way you muscle it around a little bit, and the way you set it up. Obviously, depending on whether it's softer or tighter, you can move the car differently, hit curbs differently, and that's sort of where some of these guys will win out and lose out depending on how they drive the car. And that's really what this car is. It comes down to how well you drive it and what driving style you implement while using it.
That's exactly right. And, you know, the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup in general is a car that really stands on its own compared to other race cars of its ilk. It runs on slightly harder tyres than are used by its GT3 and GTE brethren, and it doesn't have as much aero to work with. It's got that big wing on the back, but aerodynamics-wise, there's not too much you can do with it. And the nature of its layout, rear engine, rear wheel drive, basically the fastest Volkswagen Beetle you've ever seen. It ends up, yeah, actually, you know, that is true. The 911 was originally based on the design for the Volkswagen Beetle, designed by the same guy, as a matter of fact. But it lends to it a very interesting driving style. You have to really be careful about braking. You got to trail brake the car into the corners, get the car rotating, get that weight onto the front tires, because there is basically no weight on the fronts as it stands when the car is at a standstill. And then you get onto the throttle, and it's very easy to plow forward under throttle. You got to keep that steering input in. You got to make sure that the car even slides just a little bit. Get that traction on those big wide rear tires, and that's how you end up going fast around a track in this thing. But around a circuit like Interlagos, it becomes quite finicky, quite difficult to work with, because you've got such a variety of corners, and there's something that can go wrong at every one of them. Well, here we are in the race session, finally. Joshua Anderson will be starting from pole position here on account of winning race one. Michael Healy second. Forzan El Nabi and Anthony Winkleman in third and fourth. Fifth, Wayne Burke. Zachary Hanlon in sixth. And the top 10 rounded out by Adam Hyland, Scott Larnack, Cody Bircher, and Corey Preston.
And in 11th place, we've got Ben Dowell, Joshua Skin in 12th, Griffin Gardner 13th, Dylan Shepherd 14th, Dean O'Brien 15th, Mark McDonald 16th, Baden Reed 17th, Michael Kirkham 18th, Richard Hunter 19th, and our top 20s rounded out by Mr. David Haynes.
21st, Hayden Dodman with Matt Morris and Shannon Mason behind them. And 24th position, Jimmy Ball. 25th, Gary Hamilton. 26th, Mitch McLeod. 27th, Brett Cananzi. The top 30 rounded out by Mark Rayner, Steve Jansen, and Scotty Harris. Unfortunately, we don't have time to go through all the rest of the field because the drivers are just gearing up for the race start now. The lights are up, the revs are rising, and we are go, go, go here in the Porsche Supercup Australasia. A very good start from Michael Healy. He's going to attack Anderson into turn one here.
Yeah, they're all just filing through in the back here now. Watching back in the pack, it doesn't look like there's been any contact as of yet. Actually, we've got a car around in the background there. That's Richard Hunter around. More contact there. They've almost blocked the track up. That is a shame to see. We've got Bruce Smith around as well. That turn one, it does cause issues. We haven't got a safety car thrown yet, so we're going to keep on going. That's good to see.
Yes,
Coming
indeed.
down, we've had Corey Preston just escorted Ben Dow a little bit wide there, but has gotten through, and that's Dylan Shepherd through. And that's got Winkleman spinning round there. That is major.
That is, and he's going to try and make his way back onto the circuit. We got another car off there. Who on earth is that? And that is the caution flag out. Oh, what a shame. Once again, the caution flag out on lap one. Steve Jansen going very wide off the circuit. It actually looks like he had a little bit of help there from Jimmy Ball going off the circuit. But we'll get a replay from the very start just to see what on earth went on down the field. What a shame for quite a few drivers. Just looks to me like little bits of contact going on all throughout the field, and they end up snowballing into bigger and bigger incidents.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like I was saying before, these cars don't take much to get unsettled, and then, particularly under braking, you get a little hit, you hit the brakes a little harder, and you're spinning around and into the field. So it's unfortunate, but yeah, we're back under safety car again, which means this is going to turn into more of a 15-minute sprint when you think about it, as it did last time.
Yes, indeed, and goodness me, I mean, like I'm just watching back myself that incident with Richard Hunter. Basically all of his wheels off the ground. Certainly not what you want to see on lap 1 of a motor race, real or virtual. And wow, I mean, for the vast majority of the field, it was a clean start, but it's just those 1 or 2 bits of contact that ruin it for quite a few people.
Yeah, well, that's it, and obviously none of the contact's intentional, and being in such a packed situation, there were multiple instances of 3 wide racing through there, and you just get squeezed in the middle there a little bit. Nowhere you can go. The contact gets made. One guy gets shot off into the wall. Another guy spins, and that's safety car.
It certainly is. And clarification for Winkleman's incident: it was Wayne Burke that made rear end contact with him, and that's what eventuated in Anthony Winkleman's race going completely the wrong way. Just looks to me like it was a case of 2 drivers both wanting the same bit of track and maybe not quite being as aware of where they were on the circuit. Wayne Burke trying to follow his line out to the outside, and well, Winkleman was already there.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Again, racing incident. Maybe get a penalty for it, just depending on the severity of it. Obviously, Winkleman got spun around fairly violently. He's back in 28th at the moment from 4th, and he's still going out there. I imagine he'll be down on straight line speed a little bit and potentially handling his rear wing. Looks like the Hulk has smashed it right in the middle of it. So, yeah, not exactly the best looking car at the moment, but he's going to stay out there. Championship points, he's going to try and get as many as he can. But looking back through the field here, see if we've got any big movers because of that. We've got Taylor Oakes has come up 10 positions, Phil Gadd as well. Biggest losers have been Richard Hunter down 26, down in 45th position, 46th position, sorry, but he's still out there. So it looks like most of this field are still out circulating. We got Jason Cossey as well, plus 16. Sorry, I missed him. That's really good to start this race. He's pretty much come from dead last, second from last, and up to 34th, and the race can only get better for him.
Yeah, certainly. Very good run from Cossey so far. It's just a matter of keeping it nice and safe from now on. Don't get involved in any incidents if you can help it. Also noticing another big loser out of those shenanigans on the first lap was Michael Hammond. He started in 33rd position. He finds himself in 45th right now. He got spun at turn 1. He was one of the casualties, and he's actually going into the pits here. As a couple of other guys as well, Richard Hunter and Damon Stockton to get damage repaired. We've got Tim Weston for One Performance Racing in there as well. Oh, Scott Wasson. He was spun on the pit straight. Looks like he just got on the brakes a bit too hard, pinched the rears, and just went straight into the wall. He's straight back into the pits.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I guess these cars, you gun them and they do have a little bit of torque underneath them. So I guess that's unfortunate for him, and we're just watching that as well. I was just keeping an eye on Jordan McDonnell. He got a warning from race control about his internet, and he's blinking in and out, and he's actually had someone have to swerve around him on pit exit there to avoid hitting him. And they might actually get exiting pit lane penalty for that one, because they actually went around the solid white line, which is unfortunate there. So we'll see how Jordan goes. Yeah, it's a big checkup coming up here. So I'm glad. I don't think anyone's hit each other there.
Yes, indeed. That is a bit of a shame. I mean, internet issues, they are, I guess, a stand-in for some mechanical issues that you can find in real-life racing. You know, it's your hardware that's letting you down. So it is quite frustrating when you're on the receiving end of one of those problems. But fingers crossed that Jordan can work it out. He's a spirited racer. Oh, and actually, hold on. Getting an update from race control, Jordan McDonnell has been told by race control to return to the pits. because his internet is unsafe. So that is going to be a big blow to McDonald's opening championship.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Like you said, hardware, there's not much you can do about it. And some days your internet's good and some days it's bad. You gotta take the good with the bad in this case. So the night looks so promising for him, and it looks like Interlagos and good results for him were just not meant to be, unfortunately. So hopefully he can come back in a couple of weeks' time. Internet's going to be behaving, and we can see him again. So yeah, that's definitely got the confirmation there that he's got to return back to the pit lane. Still out there at the moment, but I'm sure he'll be coming back in fairly soon to abide by race control's orders.
Yes, indeed. Well, lights out on the safety car. They are coming back onto the start-finish straight presently, and so the field will resume under the control of Joshua Anderson for this next run. They're 3 laps into this race. It will soon be 4. And the green flag is out. Anderson is away. Have a look at the jump that Zach Hanlon has got there. He's actually going to try and go for the move on Michael Healy coming into turn 1. But Healy trying to hold it round the outside. Oh, that's a bit awkward, and it looks
We've
like
got people round at turn 1.
Oh no, there we go. More people round at turn 1. Looks like a pretty big one here too. Joshua Skin involved, as well as Scott Soslowski, Daniel Misdale as well. Oh, Michael Hammond around actually in the runoff at turn 3. He's just gone straight back to the pits there.
Yeah, I imagine there's probably a little bit of frustration in that as well after getting involved in that first accident, but the race continues on now. We've got David Haynes battling it out with the number 11 of Hayden Dodman further on in the lap here, and Haynes has got that move made. Looking back up in the pack, it looks like they've all sorted it out a little bit. Got an OPR car, Dylan Shepherd throwing it down the inside.
Oh, hang on a minute. Got another, Ben Dowell and a couple of other cars involved in an incident. Michael Kirkham was spun by Brett Cananzi. Cananzi just going up the inside, and they made contact. So that's another incident. I mean, some people need to get it sorted.
Yeah, look, it's, I mean, I know there's more people in the server and everything, but seriously, guys, it's you can all take it a bit careful out there. We don't want to see cars being taken out. We don't want to see slow cars out there. We want to see a good race. So yeah, we've just got someone turned around as they are coming onto the main straight. That's more carnage there. They've just slid out. That's and
yeah,
we've just had
that's
the 2
Jason Cossey.
Oh my God, yeah, someone just flipped.
Yeah,
so we're going back to Josh Anderson up the front here. He is leading by by about a second out front there, with Hanlon, got Healy, El Nabi and Larnack very close behind, and Preston has worked his way up to 6th as well. From race 1 he started 20th, and now he's in 6th in race 2, so he's doing really well. Behind him we've got Cody Bircher, Wayne Burke and Dylan Shepherd engaged in battle, nose to tail as they come through this part of the track here, with the Synergy Sim Racing car of Burke in an OPR sandwich at the moment.
Yes, indeed. And Burke with a bit of damage on the front of his car. They're going for the move, actually, on Cody Bircher. And Bircher won't be able to hold it around the outside there. It's difficult through there. He's actually let Shepherd through as well. And goodness me, Corey Preston, a big slide and spinning. Fortunately,
he's been doing so well tonight.
Yeah, that is a real shame for him. Fortunately, he has not involved anyone else in that. So that's, I guess, the only casualty being himself. But that battle pack up there is getting quite feisty. We've got Adam Hyland, Hayden Dodman, David Haynes, Mark McDonald, Dean O'Brien, Griffin Gardner, Bircher, Shepherd, Burke, and then a big gap to Scott Larnack, as Zach Hanlon, we're noticing, has actually made a mistake, and he's opened himself up to a run here from El Nabi. Healy's actually found his way back in front of him, and Hanlon and El Nabi going side by side down the front straight. Oh, goodness me, and Hanlon able to defend. Fortunately for him, got a car coming out of the pits just behind them. That is Dan Hanavier. Looks like he'll just come out, slotted in between the front runners. So Michael Healy now under pressure here from Zach Hanlon, actually going for the defensive line.
It's a good run by Hanlon there.
Yeah, over-under as well. So that is pretty easy done there from Hanlon. Healy, I don't know if he'll try and go for the move. Meanwhile, behind them, Healy does go for the move, and El Nabi and Larnack continuing to battle behind them. Have a look at Hanlon, though. Big run there, going off the circuit there, trying to maintain that position, just running off onto the curb, and they're continuing to run side by side through this twisty hairpin section. Healy has just got that traction down pat, a little bit of contact between those guys, and oh, wow, that is fantastic. Healy maintaining that position from Zach Hanlon, but I get the feeling that Hanlon is not quite done with him here. See, this is the kind of racing that we want to see, Brock.
Yeah, this is what the Porsche Carrera Cup cars are made for. And Larnack's had a big moment there. He's right off the track on the left-hand side there. So we'll go back to Healy and Hanlon here because they're side-by-side on the main straight. But just to update, that is Larnack off the track there. Hanlon has got that position now, but Healy's going to pop back into that draft. Hanlon has gone mega defensive here as Healy is going to try and take the regular line and see if he can make it work there. He's going to cut back down. Oh, they've made contact there. Nose-to-tail contact, but that's all right.
Dylan Shepard just sliced up the inside of Forza and El Navi in the background too. So lots happening here in the top 5 at the moment. I tell you who is the big beneficiary out of all of this is Josh Anderson, who has a massive lead right now.
Yeah, he's been able to just check out that move that he made on his teammate in Healy in race 1 has really paid off for him. So he is looking strong right now with about 4.5 laps left to go, 6 minutes and 50 seconds of the race to cruise home at the moment because Hanlon has still got Healy all over him in the background of that shot there. And we're going to have to wait and see here. Healy may be able to take him again, but in the background as well, El Nabi and Shepard are still battling it out hard. Burke's getting into this. There are battle packs all over the place here, Reese. Oh, and El Nabi's round. Shepard's
big lock from Hanlon. Oh.
That's contact there again. So that was slight. El Nabi's going to keep on going there with Shepard and Burke, but that was very close to being nasty there. But this has just brought those cars that were in the back end of the top 10 right into this battle now. So they're going side by side as they come up over the rise here. Waiting for my camera to update. Yeah, here we go. The 222 car is fighting it out hard. Griffin Gardner has managed to pass through Dean O'Brien as we've got El Nabi is in the slipstream of one of the OPR cars. They come down into turn 1. There is a lot going on here as they're going 3 wide down here. There's contact there between Gardner and one of the Synergy Sim Racing cars. I think it was Dean O'Brien as well. Oh, it's all going on.
Yeah, it certainly is all going on here right now, and in the midst of all of that, Jordan McDonald was removed from the server, so evidently didn't get the message from race control and tried to make his case stay back out on the track, but, well, he's ended up with that position taken away from him. Oh, goodness me, Michael Healy and Zach Hanlon still going at it. Little bit of contact. Hanlon almost going for the move up the inside.
That's, yeah, these guys, they're going crazy here now. Hanlon in that Altus Esports Porsche is in a bit of a sandwich here with Healy and Shepard, and they're fighting it out hard here. I don't know about you, Reese, but I'm absolutely loving this. Healy's got a little bit of a gap here, and Hanlon's going to have to be careful because Shepard has got major pace coming into the back end of this race with about 2 laps to go this time round, according to my timing here. So Healy's got a gap. He can relax a little bit. He can try charge. Doubt he'll be able to catch Anderson, but you know what? Set the fastest lap. Hanlon has got to worry about keeping 3rd place in this race to the guy behind him, as he's got Shepard trying to hunt him down. Burke has fallen back a bit and has got a bit of a gap back to Bircher. El Nabi is trying to catch back up to Bircher after having that little tap made on him. But these guys fighting for 2nd, 3rd and 4th are really the battle to watch at the moment, as we've got Hanlon. He's still maintaining that 3rd position. Shepard is so close behind him, trying as much as he can to get that position, which is only helping Healy move further ahead.
Yeah, Reese has had to jump out for a minute, so surprise everybody. Hello. What a race this has turned into being. Oh, Shepard, big move up the inside contact between he and Hanlon.
Hanlon's nearly gone around there as well, but luckily he's kept it going there. Well done, and Now they're going to go side by side into the next corner here. This is some absolutely awesome battling we're seeing here. Hanlon is going to try round him up on the outside. They're still going to be side by side here. And we've seen they can go side by side through this whole section. They've made contact again. That's Shepherd around as he comes back on the track there. And they've made contact again. Shepherd has gone around and out of the way. That was very lucky not hit anybody else coming through there. Hanlon has got a lot of damage. It's a shame. And Shepherd's been hit again by, it looks like, Hayden Dodman in the background there as he was trying to rejoin. So he's going to cut right across and around to try and get out of the way of some of these cars. And it looks like he may have a fairly bruised car after all that, Jay. That is really unfortunate for him.
Yeah, it is. And big loser out of this whole entire battle and this big fight has been Forzan Elnabi. Saw him start in the second row. He just dropped back. He slowly creeps his way back forward and then loses some more spots again. So Forzan's really lost out big time in this entire race. And Cody Bircher now starting to put pressure on the back of Wayne Burke as they close up on Zach Hanlon. His car looks a little bit battered and bruised as Hanlon.
Yeah, it definitely does. That contact with the couple of lots of contact with Shepherd, the front of his car looks a little bit crunched in. So all these guys with their perfect looking cars, straight line speed and potentially handling are going to be a lot better. So he's got to watch out here. Timing is showing 2 laps to go this time around, 2.5 minutes left in this race. And it is anything but sorted for this third place on the podium here, as we've got Wayne Burke is having a little... Sorry, my replay is being a bit funny here. Excuse me for 1 second, Jay.
Wayne Burke's tucked right in behind Zach Hanlon. Bircher just ahead. Just behind Elnabi and Griffin Gardner, all close together. And in the background, I'm just going to go to Mitchell McLeod. Corey Preston, Scotty Harris. Preston and Harris clashed wheels. Wheel-to-wheel contact. This is for the spots just outside the top 10. This is 11th through to 14th. And here comes Preston back up the inside. That'll be a little bit of red mist there. And Scotty Harris through, but there was big wheel-to-wheel contact there.
Yeah, you'll have to excuse me a second, Jay. I've just been kicked out of the server by my internet.
Everyone's having a good time with internet tonight. Reese has had internet dropouts as well, but I'll stick with it. At the moment, we're going to have 1 lap to go. There'll be 1 minute and 25 on the clock when Josh Anderson crosses the start line.
I tell you what, Jay, it's a great race so far. Fonty jumping in here. Welcome, guys.
Lucky we got the backup crew here. Definitely the B team jumping in the booth.
Yeah,
now
B team's on form.
Now Wayne Burke in the pits on the last lap. This is strange. What's happened to Wayne Burke?
Yeah, certainly not what you want to do on your last lap. Maybe he's forgot to put enough fuel in.
I'm wondering as well whether there's potentially a drive-through penalty due to incidents that we saw earlier in the race. He's driven straight through the lane and back out on the circuit. So I'm going to say a drive-through penalty for Wayne Burke. But Hanlon now defending from Cody Bircher. Different car tackling him from behind now. And Hanlon's really struggling with this car.
Yeah, he is. Bircher looking very racy at this stage. He's only got a few more corners to get it done. Is he going to pop him up into this next right-hander? Really good passing opportunity. He's going to look. Shows nose, but no, he backs out. He gets a decent run out here. Hanlon going really wide, so this could definitely give an advantage to Bircher.
One thing I'm noticing about Hanlon's car is he's getting a lot of front lockups at the moment. He's really struggling to pull the car up, and a few little minor mistakes. The clock is about to hit 0. There's not much time left at the moment. Josh Anderson comes out of the final complex of corners. A great drive, made a really good pass in race 1 to get himself into first for race 2. And he's never looked like giving that spot up. Well done, Josh Anderson. Wins race 1, race 2. The new season of the V8s Online Porsche Supercup Australasia with Michael Healy coming home in second. Hanlon's going to hold on for third. Good drive from him. Very beaten, broken and battered car. Cody Bircher in fourth with Elnabi fifth, Griffin Gardner sixth. David Haynes somehow has finished in 7th position. He's come up all the way through the field in that one.
Yeah, stay out of trouble when you're going to get up there, especially with the race that we've had. Lots of carnage and wheels and getting into each other. So, yeah, you certainly don't have to be fastest to get up there. But if you're fast and you can be consistent, then you're generally going to make your way up the field.
Change of position on the last lap. Ben Dow well out of position. Cross getting involved in the incident at the start of the race. He's going to get it home in 32nd position in the end, passing Daniel Misdale on the last lap. Now, Wow, what a race that was. Congratulations go to One Performance Racing, though. They've definitely worked out the setup and definitely nailed everything right in this race. Anderson, Healy, Bircher 1-2-4 is a great result for the team.
Yeah, exactly. They were very fast in qualifying, right up there at the pointy end. They do plenty of laps in this car, so they're certainly not slow. And yeah, they just their consistency through the race wasn't ideal, but yeah, certainly to come home with a win-win in both the races is pretty good for round one.
So the results up on screen, winning this race in the end by nearly 5 seconds. Josh Anderson, great job. Once he got in that lead in race one, never been matched by anybody. Michael Healy finishes in second position. Zach Hanlon does get home in third in the end with Cody Bircher in fourth. Fozan Alnabi finishes in fifth. Griffin Gardner, the highest placed privateer, in sixth position. David Haynes in seventh, with Hayden Dodman getting into eighth, but he will be looked at with a couple of incidents that he was involved in. They'll be watched over by race control post-race. Adam Hyland in ninth, and Mitchell McLeod rounds out the top 10. In 11th position, we've got Anthony Winkleman with Wayne Hewitt in 12th. Dylan Shepherd finishes the race in 13th. Decent recovery drive after dropping back through the field a long way, but Wayne Hewitt won the second split race in race one to come through from 36th up into 12th position. So well done to Wayne Hewitt. That one. Steve Jansen finishes in 14th position with Larnack in 15th. Wayne Burke with the drive-through penalty finishes in 16th in the end. Mark McDonald in 17th with Jellings in 18th. Jimmy Ball 19th, and rounding out the top 20, Scott Seslowski over the page again to Dean O'Brien and Damon Stockton. Richard Hunter, Adam Briggs and Michael Coleman, the top 25 with Michael Kirkham, Blake Delaney, Scotty Harris, Corey Preston and Taylor Oakes rounding out the top 30. Reece Keane, Ben Dow, Daniel Misdale, Shannon Mason and Baden Reed, the top 35. Jason Cossey, Alex Court, Joshua Skin, David Mulhull and Scott Wasson. Top 40, second last page of drivers, the drivers who are 2 laps down and further back. Dan Hanover, Phil Gadd, Brett Cananzi, Jordan McDonald, Tim Weston, Gary Hamilton, Matt Morris, Michael Hammond, Daniel Aish, Bruce Smith and Mark Rayner. Massive field of drivers for round number one in the V8 Online Porsche Super Cup. So
Yeah, what a great event,
great start.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, the drivers out there not really racing with each other on the regular basis, so takes a little bit for them to kind of get the consistency up and know who's going to give you room on track and who's not, and as the series evolves, that kind of the racing gets a little bit cleaner. So yeah, very difficult track, the Interlagos. It's very tight and twisty, and sort of although there's lots of runoff areas, there's lots of opportunity to clash with drivers out there. So I'm sure we will see the racing get a lot cleaner as the season goes on.
Yep, for sure. And we will quickly grab a chat with our race winner. Congratulations to Josh Anderson picking up a win in race one and race two. Well done, Josh. Very, very smooth sailing in race two. Race one was not as easy, though. Oh, got your mic not working there, Josh. Can see you trying to talk, but no sound coming through. Try again. No.
Technical difficulties
Technical
are the theme of the night, aren't they?
Technical issues everywhere. See if you can disconnect and come back, Josh. It might be working. We've had that happen to us a couple of times. Hopefully have Josh back with us in a second. But a fantastic start to the season. Obviously a little bit messy in regards to driving standards, but that will improve, no doubt, as the season progresses. Hopefully we've got you this time, Josh. No, still having technical issues. No, doesn't look like it's working, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate there. Like I said, theme of the night is technical difficulties with the server lag spike in the first race, and then Reese and I both having internet issues, and now microphone's not working. It's all going wrong, isn't it?
It is. So on that note, I think we might wrap it up for the night and make sure that we get off before something really bizarre happens. But make sure you subscribe to the iRacing Esports Network to keep up to date with all of the action here on iRacing. Next broadcast on the network will be the iRacing Le Mans series from Suzuka. And our next broadcast here on V8s Online will be Sunday night here on the iRacing Esports Network for round number 8 of the V8 Supercar Online Premier Series presented by Cut Price Racing, West End Mazda, and of course Virtual Racing School. Brock, well done on a great first night, and welcome back to the booth after being away last week.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. It's good to be back, and I'm hoping to be in the booth as well for SSA next week and continuing on. And yeah, well, the race was great tonight, and these cars are awesome. So I'm really looking forward to the next round and seeing what these guys can whip out for us when we get. I think it's Circuit Gilles Villeneuve is our next race, so I'm really keen for that.
Yeah, of course, next Wednesday night. Every Wednesday night on V8s Online, we will have either GT3 or Porsche Supercup action. Thanks to GT Leagues Australia. Also, Fonty, thank you for jumping in when Brock was having issues as well.
No worries at all. No, it's been a great event, certainly being a part of it. And yeah, we're really excited here at V8s Online for all of what's coming along. It's great to be part of the iRacing Esports Network. Do make sure you jump on and subscribe to the channel. There's going to be plenty of racing over the next few months, few years, forever.
Yep, definitely.
And yeah, it's going to be great. So we look forward to being a part of that and want to thank iRacing for the opportunity there.
Yep, we'll give one more shot with Josh Anderson. Hopefully we got your third time lucky if we got you, Josh.
Certainly do.
There we go. That's much better. Congratulations on the win in the second race. But as I was saying, the first race, nowhere near as easy as the second one.
Well, no, because I qualifying just hard with traffic, and then the track goes off late, so I just didn't get the job done, which made it difficult. I got a bit of a gift, turn 2, and then unfortunately for Healy, he just made a small mistake, but I had to work for it. And then again, like in race 2, they all started battling behind, and I just sort of drove on. So it was a good night. It was a good night of racing. It was like at the front, I found the racing really nice and clean, so it was good.
For you and your team, having someone like Michael Healy jump in and help you guys out for this championship is a pretty big coup, pretty big signing that you guys have got there.
Yeah, when Chef told me, I certainly was surprised, but it's been very good. It's just been an awesome help to have someone a bit of a benchmark, which is good.
We're going to see you around for the full championship. I know that you have real racing commitments as well, but hopefully we'll see you for most of the season proper.
Definitely, man. I really enjoy racing the Porsche. I've sort of stopped racing it officially because, but for league racing, it's good fun. It's I think I'll try and do the whole season. Yeah.
Oh, congratulations on a great performance tonight. Well done, and we better let you thank who you need to thank.
Yeah. Thanks to OPR, Dylan Shepherd, and Vanderval Sim Racing for letting me race with OPR tonight. It's fantastic.
Well, congratulations to you, Josh, on picking up the win in both race 1 and race 2, winning the first round of the V8s Online Porsche Supercup Australasia. Well done.
Thank you.
And on that note, we will wrap up our broadcast. Big thank you to everyone for tuning in. As we said, our next broadcast here on V8s Online will be Sunday night for Virtual Racing School V8 Supercar Online Premier Series. The next broadcast on the iRacing Esports Network. Make sure you subscribe. It is on Friday with the iRacing Le Mans Series. So make sure you tune in. Until next time, we thank you for watching here on the iRacing Esports Network, and we'll see you next time.
The following is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.